Atlas Fallen is a game that I've been looking forward to for quite a while now, and it has finally been released. This game takes place in a world that has fallen into complete disarray. As the Gauntlet Bearer, we must power up and attempt to fix this world by defeating the god known as Delos. Trophy wise, we are looking at a total of 37 trophies, 22 of them bronze, 10 silver, 4 gold, and of course the platinum trophy itself. These trophies involve completing the game, completing certain side quests, defeating enemies in a certain way, and of course collectibles. Before we get into our first trophy though, pressing both like and subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to press that bell icon as well for future videos. We get our first trophy as we escape from someone named Captain Morath. To escape, we get a new skill, which is the movement in this game. We are now gliding across the sand. Once we get to the end, we receive a trophy for completing the sand sliding path called Breakout. I then decided to familiarize myself with the menus. Within the armor menu, I realized that I could actually dye my armor, and after dyeing armor for the first time, I received the trophy Fashion Victim. We are now introduced to a mechanic in the game to get treasure. All we have to do is follow an animal, but not too closely as they might get spooked. Once you are close enough, they will begin to sparkle gold, then you just need to follow them from a distance behind. Shortly after, they will stop and start digging, where eventually you will see a gold flash. Make your way over and pick up the treasure. For collecting a piece of treasure by following an animal, we receive the trophy I Found It. While travelling across the sands, it suddenly starts to get really white and then a flash happens. This signals that we are now entering something called Watcher's Fury. What happens here is that we will have to take on a couple of waves of wraths. After defeating them all and finishing the Watcher's Fury for the first time, we receive the trophy, A Taste of Wrath. After playing more of the story, we receive our third and final weapon. For getting all of the weapons though, we receive the trophy, Trinity. Scattered throughout the maps there are artifacts that you can collect. I have been making sure that I collect these when I see them so I can sell them to a vendor later on. But for collecting 50 artifacts in total, we get the trophy, the Collector. One thing I haven't talked about yet is Essence Dust. Essence Dust is something that you can get by either completing quests or taking down enemies. I have now collected enough Essence Dust to get the third and final upgrade for a piece of armor for the trophy Geared Up. For this next trophy, I believe it's actually bugged. This trophy requires us to defeat a colossal wrath without taking any damage. While I am fairly sure I took damage in this battle, as previous to actually beating this wraith, I got my first death of the game, I somehow still managed to get the trophy, Flawless Victory. We've got another collectible trophy now, and this time it is actually related to lore items. For collecting a total of 30 lore items, we receive the trophy, Scholar. For this next trophy, I feel is also bugged, but maybe it isn't. It's quite hard to tell how much distance you've travelled. Typically when games include distance based trophies, they make it a ridiculous number. I'm looking at you, Dying Light 2. With Atlas Fallen though, we are only looking at needing to sandslide for a total of 42 kilometers in total, which didn't feel bad at all. For travelling the full 42 kilometers, we received the trophy, Adventurer. More collectibles now, and this trophy is something that you can easily get from collecting and selling artifacts. By collecting 10,000 tributes, which is the currency in this game, we receive the trophy, Tributes to Caladrius. Every time we defeat these large wraiths, they drop something which we smash to receive Essence Stones. These are used as your powers in this game, and there are a lot to choose from that may suit your style of play. However, for owning just 25 Essence Stones, we receive this trophy, Stone Collection. After collecting several upgrades for my gauntlet, we are now powerful enough to lift the Knight's hideout out of the sand. By discovering the Knight's hideout, we receive the trophy, Find Allies. Then after working my way through, completing quests and side quests, I finally gained the Knight's trust for the trophy, Powerful Allies. For this next trophy, I have no idea how I managed to actually get this one, as there was only one enemy on the screen at the time. I think that several enemies spawned while I was using Shatter, but I am unsure. Either way, I managed to defeat 4 wraiths at the same time for the trophy, Shatter Them All. Now this next trophy is probably the most difficult one to get, and I kinda sorta got it by accident. All you need to do is stay in the air for 60 seconds in one go. The best way to do this is obviously while in battle with an airborne enemy, and that's exactly what I did for the trophy, Airborne. Not so long ago I talked about shattering 4 enemies at once. This next trophy also requires me to use shatter on enemies, however this time I needed to have a full momentum gauge. After working out what the best essence stones would be and after many battles I eventually managed to get a full momentum gauge and used shatter to get the trophy essence blow. As I was working my way through this area and taking on side quests, I found a prisoner and talked to him. For doing this, I received the trophy, the Mentor. Now before heading into the next area to what I presumed was actually the ending of the game, I decided to see if there were any quick miscellaneous trophies that I can do and just get out of the way. And I found 2. First was to upgrade one of my essence stones to rank 7. For this we received the trophy Alchemist. Then I found and spoke to a travelling vendor in at least 6 different locations for the trophy Big Bazaar. After those I finally went into the final area of the game known as the Black Alms. For entering here we received the trophy Calm Before the Storm. From here I decided to just work on the story and get it completed, so then post game I can work on all the collectibles. However, while working on the story I accidentally got another trophy. This was defeat one of the raids called Scatterer with its own mine. You could do this by simply just hitting the mine and it will go back into the enemy. It took me a while to figure that out. Anyway, for doing this we received the trophy Miner. It is now time to come up against Thelos. As we entered the location of where Thelos is located, we received the trophy to battle. Then after a hard fought battle with Thelos, we finally beat him, meaning we have now beaten the game. For finishing the game, we received the trophy Godslayer. Now that the story is over, it is time to start collecting these collectibles, but first there is just one more story related trophy that I need to get. Well, side story. I go and find the Queen's recorded memories for the trophy, A Queen's Tale. It is now collectible time. You may have seen several times throughout the game that I have been at anvils. Anvils are where you can upgrade your armor, save your game, fast travel and several other things. There are a total of 41 anvils and thankfully I had already found most of them. So after going back through all of the areas, I found the last one for the trophy, Forge Master. There are parts of the game that are covered in either haze or a storm. It felt like a bit of both at times. These are due to watchtowers. Watchtowers can be taken down by defeating wraiths that are underneath them. I made my way through all the areas, defeating the wraiths and clearing the watchtowers to receive the trophy Clear Sight. When we were playing through upgrading our gauntlet, there were more upgrade shards than what we actually needed, which means that we can go and still collect these. So I went through each area again, collecting all of the upgrade shards for the trophy Shard Bearer. So a lot of these trophies I'm actually working on while working on others. This next trophy is a prime example of that. When taking on the race, I've been making sure that I finish them by using Shatter. Eventually I did manage to defeat a total of 50 wraiths by shattering them for the trophy Shatterer. Yes, that is the trophy name. Now this next trophy I was stuck on for a lot longer than I cared to admit. I was trying to find the last elite wraith as there were only one more that I needed to defeat for a trophy, but I could just not find it anywhere. I knew the area that it was in, but nothing. Eventually I had realized that this wraith I had to do a side quest for it, so after finding the side quest and getting to work on it, the elite wraith showed up, I defeated it and received the trophy Slayer. I was now down to finding the last armor piece, and thankfully for this one I had to just complete a side quest which was about finding armor. So after finding all the pieces and giving it back to the person who gave us the quest, I got the armor as a reward and also the trophy Fine Feathers Make Fine Birds. As I now have the final armor piece, I could upgrade it to max so I could unlock perks. For unlocking and fully upgrading all perks, I received the trophy All There Is. Just 4 more trophies remain now, and thankfully 3 of them are relatively easy. First up are finding 20 vantage points. These are pretty easy to spot, and after finding the last one I received the trophy Summiter. I then had to go around all of the areas again to find and destroy all of the heavenly shrines. For this I received the trophy False God. Then I eventually collected all of the treasure maps and collected their treasure for the trophy All That Gold. Now we're on to our final trophy called Feeling Fancy. For this trophy I had to find all the cosmetic items. Now cosmetic items can be found in several different ways: completing side quests, buying them, completing sealing totems and forgotten paths. and the hardest one of all, opening chests that are in the wild. I checked the cosmetics I already had, and it turns out I had collected 18 at this point. So I went to check vendors and managed to find one of the cosmetics there, so I quickly bought that. One I got by talking to Arif and completing a quest. Then eventually I had to go to the ceiling totems and forgotten paths route and hope that there was none in the wild. Turns out I was extremely lucky. Most of the chests I found randomly in the wild I had opened anyway, and thankfully the remaining cosmetics were in these ceiling totems and forgotten path. I am now on the final forgotten path, which turned out to be what I believe is the longest one. I opened the chest, and at the end of it I received a trophy, feeling fancy. Then of course, shortly after receiving the platinum trophy, Atlas Fallen. Atlas Fallen was a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. While I had just 2 game crashes, thankfully only losing about 3 minutes of game time total, this game is definitely one I recommend getting the platinum trophy for. In total, the game took me about 25 hours to get the platinum.